Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Public Cloud Design Tips and Tricks. In this channel, we generally discuss about public cloud design problem statements and their related solution. Today, we are going to cover one of the pillars of Azure well-architected framework known as Azure Operational Excellence. So the problem statement, what operations and process needs to be followed to keep the application running in production. That means we generally talk about, when we are talking about public cloud, we generally talk about the development and deployment methodologies. But what happens when your application is running successfully in production? After that, how it is behaving, how you are monitoring, how the life cycle is getting managed. That is the part of application operational excellence. So now let's talk about it. So the solution is Azure Operational Excellence. What is operational excellence? It is the capability which covers the operations and process that keep an application running in production. So with these capabilities, it will help you to apply it reliable or make your application reliable, predictable and automated operation process to your architecture to keep an application running in production environment. So let's try to understand what are all different topics of Azure Operational Excellence. First one is application design, second is monitoring, application performance management, code deployment, infrastructure provisioning and testing. When we are talking about application design, it provides the guidelines how to design, build and orchestrate workloads with DevOps principle in the mind. Second is monitoring. Monitoring means how to monitor your application performance, diagnostic settings, security monitoring or application log monitoring. This part will be covered here. Application performance management, how to make sure your application which is running in your cloud world or your cloud era should be performance efficient. Based on the load, it should be able to scale up, scale down or scale in or scale out. Third is code deployment. Code deployment is how are you deploying your application code in the infrastructure world with a proper automated way of working. Infrastructure provisioning, how do you make sure your infrastructure has been deployed in the environment in an optimized way or in a reusable way. And the last one is testing, which covers the fundamentals of all above. That means after the execution of your application or deployment of your application, how do you automatically testing the application behavior so that you can conclude whether the deployment is successful or not. Now let's try to understand various principles of operational excellence. The first one is optimize, build and release process. So what is optimize, build and release process? It is the capabilities where you will optimize your deployment in an efficient way with the help of infrastructure as a code. If you look into Azure world, then Azure has ARM template, Bicep module and also Terraform supporting to deploy your infrastructure as a code in Azure world. Second is it helps you to build and release with continuous integration and continuous delivery pipelines, CI/CD pipelines. Also you have to find out the methodologies to test it automatically during your CI/CD conclusion. Then avoid configuration drifting through configuration as code. So with this you can realize your optimized build and release process. Understand operational health. When we are talking about operational health, that means there are two parts. One is infrastructure health, second is application health. You need to make sure the services which has been deployed or which has been deployed by you and the application which has been deployed by you is healthy enough. It is also a kind of shared responsibility. That means generally the cloud provider makes sure the service is healthy enough and also you will make sure your application is healthy enough which is deployed in the services. So you need to make sure you continuously keep checking the operational health in an efficient way. That needs to be designed efficiently. Rehearse, recovery and practice failure. That means if there is an application, there is a failure. So and to avoid that failure, you need to practice the disaster recovery methodologies. You have to efficiently define it or implement it so that whenever there is a failure, your application should be able to fall back to its original situation. So with this you can capture the disaster recovery capabilities. It also helps you to rehearse failure to validate the effectiveness of recovery process, and also ensure teams are familiar with their responsibilities. Also document past failures and automate their remediation wherever it is possible. So as per the last statement, the biggest lesson learned is learn from your failures and make it efficient so that the next time you will be able to recover it easily. Use loosely coupled architecture. This is also one of the strongest pillar. When with the modern world, you can use microservice based architecture, loosely coupled architecture, serverless capabilities, and also with pair this with cloud design patterns such as circuit breakers, load leveling, throttling, and also advanced deployment strategies like canary, blue green, staggered. With all these things, you can make your application much more operational excellence, much more recoverable. So these are all the different principles of Azure operational excellence which has been defined in the Azure documentation. I will share both the links in the video description. Please follow them. Microsoft has really written a best information about this. If you want to know more about it, then feel free to comment and I will definitely try to reply. Thanks a lot for listening to the video. Good luck.